In every construction project, there's a force you're constantly fighting against. It's not the weather, not the budget, not the difficult clients. It's entropy. It's the natural tendency of things to fall apart, to rust, to decay, to slide back into chaos. A good builder knows this. He knows that if he leaves a pile of lumber exposed to the rain, it will rot. If he doesn't treat the steel, it will rust. If he doesn't maintain the foundation, it will crack. His entire job is a constant daily battle against the forces of decay. Well, your life is the most important construction project you will ever manage. And you have an enemy working against you 24 hours a day. But this enemy isn't outside of you. He's not your boss, not your competition, not the economy. The most dangerous enemy you will ever face is the weak man inside of you. He is the saboteur on your job site. He is the voice of entropy, constantly whispering for you to cut corners, to take the easy way out, to let things slide. Today, we are going to unmask this enemy. We are going to expose his tactics. And I'm going to give you the blueprint to defeat him, to kill the weak man inside you. Because until you do, anything you try to build will eventually crumble into dust. What's one thing you know you should do, but the weak man inside you always talks you out of? Share it in the comments. Acknowledging the enemy is the first step to defeating him. Before you can fight an enemy, you have to know him. You have to understand his methods, his motivations, his disguises. This weak man inside you is a master of camouflage. He doesn't look like a villain. He looks like you. He sounds like you. And most dangerously, he sounds like he's trying to protect you. He's the voice of reason, the advocate for comfort, the champion of later. He is the architect of mediocrity, and his only goal is to keep you safe and small within the crumbling walls of your comfort zone. Let's identify his fingerprints. The first and most common is the language of tomorrow. I'll start that workout tomorrow. I'll make that difficult phone call tomorrow. I'll start saving money next month. The weak man is the king of the future tense because it allows him to win today. He gets what he wants, comfort, avoidance, inaction, by selling you a promise he has no intention of keeping. He turns your ambition into a perpetual mirage, always shimmering on the horizon, always just one more day away. He understands that a dream that lives in tomorrow will never have to face the harsh reality of today. It's the perfect crime. You get to keep the fantasy of who you could be without ever having to do the hard work of becoming him. His second favorite tool is the magnifying glass of fear. He will take a small risk, a potential embarrassment, a possible failure, and he will hold a magnifying glass up to it until it becomes a terrifying monster that fills your entire field of vision. You want to ask for a raise? He'll show you a vivid movie of your boss laughing in your face. You want to start your own business? He'll paint a detailed picture of you losing all your money and ending up homeless. You want to talk to that woman across the room? He'll whisper that she and all her friends will mock you the second you walk away. He specializes in catastrophic thinking. He's a master storyteller, but he only writes horror stories where you are the victim. He does this because fear is the most effective form of paralysis. A man who is afraid to fail is a man who is afraid to try. And a man who never tries is a man who will never threaten the weak man's reign. His third tactic is the poison of comparison. He has a direct line to the highlight reels of everyone else's life. He'll show you the guy from high school who just bought a new house, the colleague who got the promotion you wanted, the friend who seems to have the perfect family. He'll hold up their finished, polished structures and then point to your messy, incomplete construction site and say, "See, you're so far behind. What's the point? You'll never catch up." He wants you to believe that the game is already over and you've lost. He wants you to feel envy and despair, because those emotions drain your energy. They make you want to give up. He never shows you the struggle behind their success. He doesn't show you the years of sacrifice, the failures, the late nights. He only shows you the victory lap, because his goal isn't to inform you, it's to demoralize you. And finally, his most subtle and dangerous weapon, the justification of blame. The weak man is an expert at shifting responsibility. Nothing is ever his fault, which means nothing is ever your fault. The economy is bad. Your boss is unfair. Your parents didn't support you enough. The system is rigged. He creates a narrative where you are a noble victim battling against insurmountable odds. It's a comforting story. It absolves you of all responsibility. If the game is rigged, why bother playing hard? If the deck is stacked, why get upset when you're dealt a bad hand? Blame is a powerful sedative. It numbs the pain of failure by telling you that you never had a chance to begin with. But in doing so, it strips you of all your power. A victim cannot build. A victim can only wait to be rescued. The weak man convinces you to wait for a savior that is never coming, because as long as you are waiting, you are not working. I had to face this enemy head on. It was about 10 years into my business. Things were going well. We had a good crew, a steady stream of projects. I was making a good living. I had built a respectable, sturdy structure. And I got comfortable. The weak man inside me saw his opening. He started whispering, "You've done enough. You've worked hard. It's time to coast. Why take on that bigger, more complicated project? It's risky. What if you fail? You could lose what you've built. Just keep doing the simple, profitable jobs. It's safe here." And I listened. For almost 2 years, I turned down opportunities for growth. I avoided risk. I stayed in my lane. I was maintaining, not building. My business became a comfortable chair instead of a powerful engine. On the surface, everything was fine. But underneath, the rot was setting in. My best guys, the ambitious ones, started to get bored. They wanted to be challenged. They started leaving for other companies that were building bigger and better things. My profit margins started to shrink because I was stuck doing the low-margin jobs that everyone else could do. The passion I once had, the fire that drove me to get up at 4 a.m., started to dim. It was being replaced by a dull, nagging anxiety. Then the recession hit. It was like a storm that came out of nowhere. The phone stopped ringing. The safe jobs dried up. Suddenly, my comfortable little structure was on a crumbling foundation. I was facing the real possibility of losing everything. And the weak man inside me, the one who had told me to play it safe, he changed his tune. He was no longer the voice of reason. He was the voice of panic. He screamed, "I told you it was risky. This is it. It's over. You're a failure. You should have stayed a carpenter, working for someone else. You weren't cut out for this." I almost broke. I remember sitting in my truck on a half-finished job site, the rain pouring down, feeling the weight of it all. The voice was so loud, so convincing. It felt like the truth. I was a fraud, a failure. I was ready to give up, to sell my equipment, to declare bankruptcy and just stop. I put my head on the steering wheel and I was done. But then something else happened. A different voice, a quieter one, spoke up. It didn't yell. It was a low growl. It said, "So what? So what if you fail? Are you going to let this be the end of the story? Are you going to let that whining coward in your head write the last chapter?" It was a moment of clarity. It was like the clouds parted for just a second. I realized I had been fighting the wrong enemy. I was blaming the economy, the clients, the bad luck. But the real enemy was sitting right there in the driver's seat with me. It was the part of me that chose comfort over courage, the part that listened to fear instead of ambition. In that moment, I made a decision. I was going to kill that man. I wasn't going to argue with him or negotiate with him. I was going to starve him, silence him, and bury him. That day, I didn't go home. I went back to my workshop. I turned on the lights and I started to build. I didn't have any clients, so I built for myself. I designed and built the most intricate, difficult piece of furniture I could imagine. It was a test. It was a declaration of war. Every time the voice of doubt whispered, "This is pointless," I'd make a more precise cut. Every time the voice of fear screamed, "You're wasting your time," I'd sand the wood smoother. I worked for 3 days straight, fueled by coffee and rage. A rage directed not at the world, but at the weakness inside me. When I was finished, I had this beautiful, solid, ridiculously over-engineered table. It was the best thing I had ever built. And it was completely worthless from a financial standpoint, but it was the most valuable thing I owned. Because every time I looked at it, I remembered. I remembered that the builder is stronger than the saboteur. That table didn't save my business, but the man who built it did. I went out and fought for my company. I took on the small, dirty jobs no one else wanted. I rebuilt my reputation, one tiny project at a time. It was a long, brutal fight. But the weak man was quiet now. I had shown him who was in charge. I had killed him in that workshop, and I had buried him under a pile of sawdust. So how do you do it? How do you kill this enemy? It's not a single act. It's a campaign. It's a series of battles you have to win, day after day. Here is the blueprint. First, you must declare war. You have to consciously recognize that this voice of weakness is not you. It is a separate entity. It is a parasite. You must give it a name. Call it the coward, the saboteur, the ghost. By separating it from your identity, you can begin to fight it. You are not fighting yourself. You are fighting for yourself against an internal enemy. This is a critical mental shift. You are not a weak man trying to be strong. You are a strong man fighting to cast out his weakness. Second, you must starve him. The weak man feeds on comfort, idleness, and consumption. You must cut off his supply lines. This is where discipline comes in. Discipline is not about punishment. It's about choosing what you want most over what you want now. It's the deliberate act of choosing the hard right over the easy wrong. When your alarm goes off at 5 a.m. for your workout, the weak man screams for the comfort of the snooze button. When you get up, you are starving him. When you choose the salad over the burger, you are starving him. When you turn off the television to read a book or work on your side project, you are starving him. Every act of discipline, no matter how small, is a blow to the enemy. It weakens him. It makes his voice quieter. Third, you must build his replacement. You cannot kill something with nothing. You must build the strong man to take his place. The strong man is not built in the gym, not really. He is forged in the furnace of voluntary hardship. You must actively seek out discomfort. Do the things you don't want to do. Take the cold shower. Have the difficult conversation. Sign up for the race you don't think you can finish. Push yourself to the edge of your limits and then take one more step. The strong man is built in that last rep, that extra mile, that final minute of focus when your brain is screaming to quit. He is the muscle that grows back stronger after being torn. The weak man fears pain. The strong man understands that pain is the price of growth. He learns to welcome it, to see it as a signal that he is on the right track. Fourth, you must control the narrative. The weak man is a master propagandist. You must become better. You must seize control of your own inner dialogue. When he whispers a story of fear, you must counter it with a story of courage. When he shows you a highlight reel of someone else's success, you must remind yourself of your own journey, your own progress. You must become your own coach, your own drill sergeant, your own biggest fan. This requires mindfulness. You have to listen to your thoughts as if you are screening them at the door. Is this thought productive? Does it serve my mission? Or is it the enemy trying to sneak past the gates? If it's the enemy, you don't argue with it. You simply deny it entry. You observe it, acknowledge it as the propaganda it is, and then you let it go. You replace it with a thought that serves you. This is a war of attrition. There will be days when the enemy seems to win a battle. You'll skip the workout. You'll eat the junk food. You'll waste an evening scrolling through your phone. The weak man will celebrate. He'll tell you, "See, you can't change. You're still me." This is the most critical moment. This is where most men give up. They mistake a lost battle for a lost war. A strong man does not. When he falls, he does not stay down and complain about the fall. He gets up, dusts himself off, and analyzes why he fell. He learns the enemy's tactics from the defeat, and then he gets back to work, smarter and more determined than before. He understands that failure is not the opposite of success. It is a part of the construction process. It's the stress test that reveals the hidden weaknesses in your plan. Killing the weak man is the hardest thing you will ever do. It's a lonely internal battle that no one else can see or fight for you. But it is the only battle that truly matters. Because everything you want in life, the success, the respect, the relationships, the peace of mind, is on the other side of that fight. It is guarded by the very weakness you are trying to overcome. You cannot build a skyscraper on a foundation of mud. You cannot build a life of strength and purpose on a foundation of comfort and fear. You must excavate that mud, dig down to the bedrock, and pour a foundation of solid, disciplined concrete. Look around your life. Look at the projects you've abandoned, the opportunities you've missed, the relationships you've failed to build. In every single one of them, you will find the fingerprints of this enemy. He was there, whispering in your ear, guiding your hand, celebrating your inaction. It's time to stop letting him be the architect of your life. It's time to fire the saboteur. It's time to take the hammer and the nails and the blueprint into your own two hands. The work is hard, the days are long, and the enemy is relentless. But the man you will become in the process is worth the fight. Now tell me, what is the first battle you are going to pick with the weak man inside you? What is the first thing you are going to do today to starve him? I want to hear your battle plan. Let's get to work. Let's be clear about who this strong man is that you're building. He isn't a brute. He isn't emotionless. He isn't a machine. The strong man is an artisan. He is a master craftsman of his own character. He wakes up each day with intention. He doesn't just let the day happen to him. He imposes his will upon the day. He has a blueprint, a plan, not just for his week or his month, but for his life. He knows what he is building. His workshop, his mind, is clean and organized. His tools, his habits, are sharp and well-maintained. He doesn't waste materials. He doesn't waste time. He measures twice and cuts once, not just with wood, but with his decisions, his words, and his commitments. He understands the value of silence, of focus, of deep work. He can sit with a difficult problem without needing the distraction of his phone. He can face a setback without crumbling into despair. He feels fear, yes, but he has trained himself to use it as a compass, pointing him in the direction he needs to go. He feels anger, but he channels it into the furnace of action, using it as fuel to break through obstacles. He is not a man without feelings. He is a man who is the master of his feelings rather than their slave. Building this man is the greatest project you will ever undertake. Every disciplined act is a nail driven true. Every moment of resistance against the weak man is another layer of varnish, protecting you from the elements. This war is fought on 1,000 fronts, in the smallest moments of your day. It's the moment you choose to take the stairs instead of the elevator. It's the decision to put 5% of your paycheck into savings before you buy your morning coffee. It's the choice to listen instead of waiting for your turn to talk. These are the small, unglamorous skirmishes where the war is won or lost. A good day is a day where you win more of these battles than you lose. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be moving forward. You just have to end the day a little bit stronger, a little bit more disciplined than you were when you woke up. A bad day is when you let the weak man win too many battles. You let him convince you that you're tired, that you deserve a break, that your small choices don't matter. And when you have a bad day, you must not let him win the next one. You must not let one lost battle turn into a full-scale retreat. You get up the next morning, you look in the mirror, and you tell him, "You won yesterday, but today is mine." Years ago, I restored an old wooden boat. It was a beautiful thing, but it had been neglected for years. The wood was soft in places, the brass was tarnished, the engine was seized. The weak man inside me said to scrap it. He said it was too much work, a lost cause. But I ignored him. I spent a whole summer on that boat. I replaced every rotten plank. I polished every piece of brass until it shone like gold. I rebuilt the engine piece by piece with my own hands. The hardest part wasn't the labor. It was the vigilance. Every day I had to fight against the damp, the rust, the decay. I had to constantly be one step ahead of the entropy. When I finally put that boat back in the water and the engine turned over with a deep, satisfying rumble, I felt a sense of accomplishment that was deeper than any paycheck. I hadn't just restored a boat. I had proven to myself once again that a dedicated man with a plan is a more powerful force than the natural tendency of things to fall apart. Your life is that boat. It may have been neglected. There may be rot in the planks and rust on the fittings. The engine of your ambition may have seized up. It doesn't matter. You can restore it. You can rebuild it, stronger and more beautiful than it ever was before. But you have to pick up the tools. You have to be willing to do the work. And you have to declare war on the rot.